wa ta'ala, and that the more that it is making itself to be humble, the more it's pulling itself down, the more Allah will raise. The more you are humble, the more Allah is going to raise you. But the ego is drunk. You understand? The ego doesn't know that. The ego doesn't want that. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also created the ego to be subdued by the spirit. And especially the power that you're able to have when you are putting the ego down in this world. And then that ego, with the power of that ego, you can rise to high stations. But don't think now the ego is going to bring you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala too. Because in order to go into that journey to meet with your Lord, at that time, everything you have to leave behind. You understand? Your ego, everything you have to leave behind. So we cannot enter into that so much. Well, we don't even know how to enter into a bathroom. So you're asking the question, why is the ego self-sabotaging? Because the ego has not been created to be a lord, but it thinks that it is. The ego has been created to be under the control, to be a servant. The ego is not a servant to Allah. The ego is a servant to the spirit. And when the spirit is able to catch the ego and make it to serve him, then that time, with the power of that ego especially, you'll be able to, in this world, to be able to escape from this world, to be able to escape from the gravity of this world. You understand? Because the ego is the one that is pulling it down. We're entering into the days of Miraj. This is completely tied in with Miraj. And so, different vehicles, the Prophet ﷺ, right? Because it is not just the Burak. In fact, the Burak was tied up. How many vehicles there? The Prophet ﷺ made? I believe it was 5. That is known. More that is known? We don't know. Maybe more? Of course there may be more. You understand? Burak making the Isra. Now, still you are in this world, but you are breaking away from the laws of this world, but still you are in this world. But when you want to go into different worlds now, you have to ride on different vehicles, different kinds of transportation. Prophet ﷺ rode on, for example, the Rafraf. The Rafraf is all the way up there. Prophet ﷺ rode on the back of the Burak, went up to a certain level, rode on the back of Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam, went to a certain level. Other vehicles went on a certain level. So this is showing how when we are able to make what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us to be servants to the Spirit, and if the Spirit knows that it is a servant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning the servants that Allah has given you, they are not becoming the masters, then you can use them, and it is not going to be so difficult now to be able to make that journey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a journey away from yourselves. You understand? Because our self is false. Prophets came to teach us that. Prophets came to show us the different realities so that we don't get caught up with one thing, one thing only. Trying to show us that this world too has so many different realities. We have not even discovered so much. Modern man discovered nothing. Understand? And if you think that you're going to discover all this without first discovering yourself, because all this is supposed to make you to discover into something bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, higher. But if you're not discovering yourself first, then you're going to get smaller and smaller and deeper instead of going higher. It will destroy you. It's one of the reasons why in these times it is not permitted for us to enter into those kinds of talks. In our way, it is not permitted for us to enter into those kind of mystical talks. It's not the time for that too. You understand? Because people hardly know. Forget about entering into a toilet. They don't even know that they're dirty. To get rid of that dirtiness, you enter, you enter into a toilet to get rid of dirtiness, correct? But people don't even know that they're dirty. So they're carrying the toilet inside. How are you going to get rid of that now? First, make people realize that they are sick. So many people are not realizing that they are sick. Then when there are doctors, spiritual doctors, that are telling them that they are sick, they accuse those doctors. So this is one of the tricks of Dajjal, the confusion of Dajjal. Like what we talked about a few days ago. Dajjal makes confusion. Now you don't know what is Haqq and you don't know what is Batil. Dajjal is not coming with open Batil. You understand? It comes with hidden Batil. It comes with the guise, with the covering, with the form of Haqq. Comes with the form of Haqq. How then are we going to know? That there is Batil inside that. How are we going to know? This is how Dajjal is going to be confusing to people, because it's not coming with, don't think Dajjal is going to come with 2 horns and 1 eye and, and that kind of thing. Huh? Dajjal is coming to trick. He's going to come in the most beautiful form. He's going to come in the form of prophets. Shaykh has spoken so much about this. And he's going to speak from the holy books too. And whatever he speaks, people will listen. It'll pull their hearts. How are we going to know if that is right or if that is wrong? This is the knowledge that people of the Akhir Zaman, they should run after. This is the knowledge of the Akhir Zaman that in so many Muslim countries they forbid people to talk about. And if they permit people to talk about the Akhir Zaman, signs of the Akhir Zaman, They just talk about deserts turning green, tall buildings in the deserts, barefoot, naked Arabs running around. Those kinds of prophecies. You understand? But they don't talk about how we are to fight against the Dajjal. What are we? How are we going to polish our heart that we're able to see kufr that is written on his forehead? So now you must know what is haq and batil. Now you must know that there is a haq and there is a batil. First thing that Dajjal is going to introduce is there is no batil. Everything is haq. Everything is permissible. There is no boundaries. There is no law. The law is everything is permitted. Meaning there is no laws of the Prophet ﷺ, there is no sunnat saying what is right and what is wrong. He says, don't judge me. Everything is permitted. So, looking at it from one eye, not looking at it with two eyes, looking at it from one eye. And what is it that he's going to bring is going to pull the ego very much. It's not going to pull the spirit. It's going to pull the ego. Whatever the ego wants, he's going to give it to you. Person who doesn't even understand what is spirit and what is ego, you think he's going to understand what Dajjal is bringing and be able to fight against it? He's not going to. So for that, we need the training of the saints. We need the training of the awliya Allah, that they're going to tell us how to look at things and how to think. They're going to tell us how to polish our hearts, how to look with the nur of Allah, not to look with our ego. Ya Alhamdulillah. May we always be looking through the eyes of our Shaykh and holding tightly. As much as enough. Fatiha.